up all
That's
weekend.
true. Hello, folks. For those who are signing in early, and I are already into this. We haven't even begun our program yet.
That's
So,
great.
so a commercial break to set the ground rules here. First off, this live. We do not rehearse it.
Live.
We do share topic because I think he needs all the help to prepare himself for the moment. That
Mm.
being said, you can view us either on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Remember, in each of these, including YouTube, you must be signed in to make comments, leave them back to us. And I need the help, any help you can provide for me, because Tommy is one seasoned character,
Yeah.
and it's hard to pin him down. So this the session here, the concept is we spar at each other, and that's a polite way of saying it. He claims, Tommy, when I say he, claims that anyone can be a confident public speaker. I'm the shy introvert. I think either you're born that way or it ain't gonna happen. He says he can make it happen. That being
Ah.
that being said, and also we Tommy thinks he's getting good at the sparring session with me, but when I'm finding out, he's becoming more and more cryptic in terms of his topic, which makes my job more challenging to pin him down. Now, having said that, the topic for today is the beacon. Now,
Whoa.
I, I have
Whoa.
I have to assume that Tommy wants me to go through a word association concept here. So, what connects a Tommy Hilcken to
Wow.
the term the beacon? I figured it out, folks. And what it is, what comes to mind is those lighthouses that
There you
during the
go.
fog season they put a beam out so you don't crash into land. And there's a warning horn that says, "Danger, Tommy. Danger, Tommy." So I figured that's what we're talking about here. So, Tommy,
Wow.
let me know what's going on.
Well, that's interesting. First of all, I heard you say you need help, which is great, but therapy isn't part of this. So,
Oh,
so we'll let that go. But by the way, it's not that the lighthouse says, watch out, Tom. It's sending out the light, a beacon of light of warning, not against me, for me, that I am here.
okay.
So
We'll see where
with
that
that being
goes.
with that being said, I am 6'4", so I'm just about as tall as a lighthouse when you think about it. So that's what it has. But the beacon, listen, you know what I tell you, Joe, plain and simple. Everybody, if you're in business, the answer is to become the beacon. You need to be seen. And all kidding aside, you need to be seen, and people need to know that you're there to help. So if you're really joking about the beacon, be seen and let people know that you're there to help. And how do you do that? We talk about it all the time. Sometimes you have to step up, but more importantly, how do you stand out?
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed that. And yourself being an introvert, as you say, or it comes down to, again, stepping up and starting to do extrovert things is really what you need to do. I hope
Well,
that helps.
Well, I'm still even more confused. You're artful,
Yeah,
Tommy. I got to say that.
that's
We're,
true.
we're talking about stepping up. Let me put it in perspective. I was not a sports kind of guy growing up. Basketball,
Right,
I couldn't even dribble without taking my eyes off the ball.
right.
And I would go to the court because I wanted to play as a kid because we had a schoolyard. And what they would do, they'd see me, and I would before I would go on the field, I would do a count. And if there was an odd number of people, because you had to even fours or even fives, whatever it may be, if it were an odd number, I wasn't going to get chosen. I knew that because there had to be an even team. But if it was an even number, hey, I got a shot at this. So I'm stepping up because, hey, I'm not a basketball player. I'm not a confident guy syndrome. And when I'm the last one studying, they're looking around behind me to see if there's anybody else to choose. And they say, well, I guess I'll take Joe. So
Right.
you say stepping up, it sounds a lot easier said than done. I mean, how does that happen?
Well, I would say it's the same thing as anything in life. Once you realize you're not going to get picked, what would you have to do to get picked? And chances are you'd have to get better. And how do we get better? We get better by preparing and practicing. This is just like everything else in life. You have to prepare yourself. You have to get educated. You have to get trained. Perhaps you want to get coached. Listen, if somebody on that team who was good at dribbling the basketball, if you spent a half hour a day asking them how they did it and they showed you how to do it, and you continually bounce that ball every day, within a certain amount of time, you'd be better at it. I'm not saying you'd be Michael Jordan, but you'd certainly be better than you were if you went out every day and you did it. I remember the time when plain and simple, I wanted to learn how to juggle.
Right.
Now, the one thing about juggling that you got to remember is more than anything, you're going to drop than you're going to catch when you first start juggling.
Yeah,
But
I think Tommy, our audience has pretty much figured that out with you by now. But please go ahead.
yes, I juggle a lot. It's okay. I'm a born clown. But with that being said, you drop the clubs, you drop the balls more often than you do catch them. So in the beginning, all you're really doing is learning how to pick up a club, learning how to pick up a ball off the floor. But then you learn some secrets, such as juggle over a couch. That way, while you're juggling, if it falls, it only falls to the couch. You don't have to bend all the way to the floor.
Good point.
And a good point. Saves your back, saves your mind.
Excuse me, people, please note that this was maybe the 19th session. This might have been my second good point I've heard from him, but I keep working at it. So I'm sorry for interrupting, Tommy. Go ahead.
And we're still working on your first good point, but we'll get there. Man. You had all weekend to prepare. Nothing. You got nothing. You got nothing, I tell you.
Okay, well, folks, please sign in and make your comments because that's the only way that's going to be resolved, this discussion.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Tommy.
Like you mentioned earlier, please throw Joe a preserver. He needs one right now. He's drowning fast.
Okay. I guess he's had too much coffee already. I see that now. Yeah. He does mellow out. Maybe we'll move this to a Saturday afternoon or something where you're more mellow.
Yeah, 3:00 in the afternoon, I'm done. You're right. Yeah, but you know what we're saying. It's pretty much if you want something and you desire it, and it becomes a burning desire, and you really know that it's going to lead to better things in your life. You prepare, you practice, you ask people how they do it. They show you how to do it, and then you learn how to replicate it. Right? Repetition is the mother of success. So no matter how you look at it, it's scary in the beginning. And it slowly starts to fade till you get more comfortable doing it. The word I like to use is people need to start and really need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Change never comes without being uncomfortable.
Okay.
So once you start to get comfortable being uncomfortable, it gets a little easier. So that's my tip of the day when it comes to it is you got to do it. You got to break through your fears.
Okay. Well, I can certainly I'm going to have a question behind my statement, but I can certainly attest the fact that Tommy knows how to make people uncomfortable. So I think that comes to as a natural to him. Now, having said that, Tommy, okay, so let's assume that you are a beacon, and better yet, the beacon. Somebody comes to you. Should I come with you with sunglasses on, polarized, so I don't get overwhelmed by the glare? Or how does that work as a possible connection to you?
Well, I suggest everybody certainly wears some sunscreen. Certainly. I don't want anybody going home blistered when they're hanging around with me. I get it. We don't need that. The first lawsuit, I hung out with Tommy Hilcken, I got sunburn. I understand. We don't need that. No, what I'm trying to say is it's not about ego. It's not about, hey, look at me. But if you're in business, you need people to look at you. They need to know. They need to find out about you, your brand. What can you do for them? If you're sitting behind the scenes and everybody has to come to you, what are you going to do to make that happen, right? It's not going to happen. And even when we're talking now online, what are you posting? What are you putting up that makes people get interested in you and what you do, right? And that's the first thing we need to do. It's so important. So when I say the beacon, really what I'm saying is, how do you stand out amongst the crowd? You can't tell me, Joe, that it's not the most important thing to do in business. If we wouldn't have these commercials, we wouldn't have people buying, $1 million commercials at the Super Bowl if they didn't need to stand out amongst. Chevy needs to stand out against Toyota, right? State Farm against Geico. They spend so much money so they can stand out amongst the crowd, right? You remember their commercials. You remember what they do. Very, very important.
Okay, I hear that. And I'm going to take a commercial break, pause again for folks who've signed in maybe a little bit late. If you the replay mode, then you will have seen everything. But please remember to share your comments. I get some likes verbally from people that they see the value of what we're doing. And what this all began with historically was, again, people say I'm not born to be a confident public speaker. Tommy says we can make you that. So Tommy and I agreed, this is our 19th session, somewhere back a few months, that let's do a podcast. It was certainly new to me, the concept, and he might have had more experience at it, being the public speaker. And we did it live because we wanted to share with you our mistakes, our growing process. So for those of you who come in at this stage of the game, say, boy, these guys are natural. They might say Joe's are natural. I'm not sure yet what I'm hearing about Tommy. I wouldn't want to say that in public. But that being said, we've both gotten better at this than from before. And I can easily attest to that. And we weren't born this way. We kind of grew into it. So share your comments to us, share it with other people, and let us know what you're thinking, ask your questions, and make your counterpoints. So that being said, back to Tommy again. What we're talking about here, Tommy, in fact, one of the things we're talking about now is getting out there and making it happen. I'm talking about Tommy and I making it happen. He and I are still challenging each other about is something, public speaking to Tommy, he's old school, and I say that with respect. That you're in front of an audience live, you see their feedback to you as you engaging with them. Right. Now, would you consider a slight change of subject, but is this podcast public speaking? Because we're talking, we're engaging. People sometimes pipe in. Is that part of what one would do as a public speaker?
I got to tell you, you've come a long way because in the 19th episode today, you talk a lot more than you ever did. That's crazy. Thank you for saving my voice.
I'm trying to fill in the blanks, folks. So, but I need your help. Put your comments in there.
Man, you got a lot of blanks today, I'll tell you. I want to say something about what you said about can you become a confident public speaker. Okay. I like the word confident public speaker. But in reality, it starts out with becoming more confident. Right? Let's get this out of our head. You don't jump from here to here, and boom, next day. You can become more confident one day at a time. So keep doing what you're doing, and you'll start to gain confidence, not so much become confident. You start to gain confidence. Everybody has little by little by little. You start to gain confidence before you become a confident public speaker. So your goal is not to become, it might be the end result to become a confident public speaker. But what you want to do each day is gain confidence. That'll change your shift a little bit.
Right. So you talk about shifting. Tommy, I think, deliberately to make my job a lot harder because I'm really attacking this confident thing. I'm hearing it, but I'm attacking it. Last session, and it's documented, he changed the word. He says, well, rather than confident, maybe I mean skillful public speaker. And so I said, geez, the guy's sliding off to a new zone. I got to chase him again syndrome.
Yeah.
But so let's hold you to that. Skillful. Is that skillful and confident the same thing? Or can one be skillful and not be confident? Geez, maybe that's another whole talk session. But we got some 3 minutes here. What?
That's a great question. Can one be skillful and not confident? I think when you work on your skills and talents, you naturally, even if despite yourself, will become more confident where you'll just get up and say, well, I don't want to do it, but now I can do it. There's a big difference, right? That's where stepping up comes into play. Not everybody wants to do it, but you got to remember this. Many people have to do it. So my mindset would be if you're doing something you have to do, why not start to learn to enjoy it a little bit, become more confident? And with that being said, this is a learned skill. So when I talk about skills, if you get up every day and you work on your skills and you enhance your skill level and your talents, you'll start to shine. Everyone has natural talents that you can build on. You just have to peel it back and discover what they are. Everybody has them, no matter what it might be. Right? Some people are very analytical. They can do data. That's not my kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I recognize what everybody's good at. So discover what you're good at, build upon that. And really what it comes down to is enhancing your skill level. Keep learning new skills. Learn how to do things differently. And that's how it works.
Okay, I hear that. Now, again, we're talking about skillful. We're talking about confident. We're using these fancy words as I'm chasing Tommy around the ring. Now, one of the things that I'd like to talk about next week, and it is a mutual agreement, by the way, is
Yeah, I
stage.
voted on it. No, did I vote on that, or did I miss the vote?
Well, sometimes I acknowledge, sometimes not. It depends on how it goes. But a stage fright. Because we're talking about confidence, we're talking about skillful, we're talking about having your doubts just mentioned. And I think what I'd like to do next week, Tommy, is to talk about stage fright. You say you're a confident kind of guy. Do you ever get them still? How long have you been doing this? Would you consider yourself as a public speaker? Let me ask you that question.
Well, I've been on stage over 30 years.
Okay, good period of time. So he's seasoned in that direction. And I think his picture's been on the wall of the U.S. Post Office maybe a few years longer than that.
A few years? a much younger picture.
Fair enough, but you're still wanted. So anyway, that being said, I think what I'd like to do next week is talk about stage fright. And quite, my focus is not just on stage, because we're shelter in place, it is what it is, but Zoom stage fright, podcast stage fright. It's virtual media versus a physical media. Does it make a difference? And if yes, how does one deal with it? And folks, if you like that idea or not, share your thoughts with us. Tommy, any thoughts on that to take us home?
Well, the thought is this: I really didn't get to vote on it. And now I realize why this is the Wesley Hilcken show.
Yeah, he's getting there, folks. He's getting there. Keep helping us out.
Nice. I'm just the train at the end being pulled by the engine. Well, thanks, Joe. Next week we will talk about stage fright. Beautiful.
That sounds good, folks. Thank you very much. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, everyone.